A compound fracture of the right radius, 2 fractured ribs, torn ligaments, strained tendons, numerous contusions, bruises, and scratches. What have you been doing?
You mean, what have we been doing?
Never mind. I don't need that particular image running around my head.
Set a course for love.
Ah, yes. One of your Earth emotions.
Glad I found you.
Let's get married.
Delete the wife.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Deep Space Love, the Star Trek podcast, where a married Trekkie couple explore love in all its forms throughout the final frontier. I'm Nicole, one of your hosts.
I'm one of your other hosts, Joe.
The only other host, Joe.
What's up?
Not much. We just got the kids to bed right in the nick of time so we can record tonight. So
yeah, it's still a variable whether or not one will hop out of the bed. I don't know. I'm thinking we're good, but we'll see.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
You know what, though? I've been really enjoying.
What?
Is the smell of lilacs outside in May. It's May in Minnesota, and every time I walk outside, I smell lilacs, and it's really pleasant. And I'm just going to take the small things.
Gotta take the wins where you can find them. It's delightful. It's delightful, yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that being said, I actually...
something else that's delightful.
Something else that's delightful is that we have a guest joining us tonight. With us tonight is Oklahoma's British Star Trek queen, Busty Springfield. Busty created and hosted Engage, the first of its kind Star Trek-themed drag show in Oklahoma City, of all places, back in December 2023, which raised money for SISU. Did I say that right?
CISU Youth Services.
CISU Youth Services, an Oklahoma City-based nonprofit organization that's dedicated to helping homeless youth in the area, which is an amazing cause. Welcome, Busty.
Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to meet both of you.
Yeah,
likewise. Oh, we said the same time. Wow, look at that.
It's embarrassing.
You gotta say jinx now. It's how this
Jinx.
works.
I got it.
There you go.
You owe me Spindrift.
You give me a Coke.
I love it.
Well, Busty, how are you? I was just talking about lilacs. How are you doing today?
How's Oklahoma?
I'm feeling pretty good. Well, I mean, Oklahoma doesn't have anything quite as nice to smell as lilacs. I mean, most of what you're going to smell out here is probably car exhaust because everyone drives around here. But you know what? I've lived here in Oklahoma for almost 8 years now, so I've gotten pretty used to it. I love it. I mean, there's a lot of terrible things you could say about Oklahoma, but as a queer person who's plugged into the community, that part of Oklahoma is actually pretty great.
I've been through Oklahoma. Have you been to Oklahoma?
I think when I was 4.
Yeah. As children, yes.
What brought you down to Oklahoma as a child? I'm curious.
I remember my family drove us through Oklahoma to go to somewhere in Texas for a vacation. I don't remember where.
Same, but totally different times in our lives. That's so funny.
Not a flyover state, but a drive.
It was a drive-through. Yeah, exactly.
We're Midwesterners. Yeah. It's a lot of drive-through states.
I think I've been to Minnesota. Well, I've been to Minneapolis airport.
Oh yeah.
I actually did go to a conference in St. Paul last year, which was actually pretty fun.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, in my professional life, when I'm not busy doing my Star Trek nonsense, I do research about the Mississippi River, so I got to sit right by it and get to see the thing I've been researching for so long. So it's cool. It was really nice to see, and it was cool. The weather wasn't totally awful. I think I was there in April. So
April's dicey.
Could have been worse.
Yeah, April can be.
It didn't snow.
That's huge. Yeah, April can be sometimes it could be very cold. I feel like for April we had we would wake up and be 30 something, and then at the end of the day it'd be 75.
It's weird times.
Sounds about right.
Wait, so you've studied the Mississippi a lot, but not necessarily hands-on studying.
Yeah. So I can talk about that a little bit. So in my professional life, I'm a climatologist.
That's awesome.
Actually. So, and the research I do is all about the Mississippi River Basin and kind of using an AI model to summarize all the work that's been done over the last 35 years about the Mississippi, and therefore what should be being done next to kind of ensure that the work that scientists are funding is going where it should be going.
Awesome. I mean, I know
Fascinating.
it's not like super directly, but like Star Trek's very sciencey. I'm a scientist myself, and
Yeah.
the Mississippi is our backyard, so I'm happy. I would probably chat more about it, but I know we're all here for Star Trek specifically. But thank you for
Oh
sharing.
yeah,
That
don't
was
want
cool.
to get lost down the rabbit hole. Not when there's so much cool Star Trek stuff to talk about. Also, sometimes I swear. So if I drop f-bombs on occasion, I am so sorry.
It's fine. It's fine.
Please
It's allowed.
do, yeah.
Okay, I said if you have children listening, I apologize in advance. British people have potty mouths, and I'm sorry.
Well, I can distinctly remember the first time one of our children said the F word, and it was after he spoke it.
Yeah,
She
it
was
was
like
after
2.
me. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
right. I did it. I stubbed my toe, so that's
It was a good reason, but
Yeah.
everyone thought it'd be me. So
I did
The
too.
time, well, the first time my parents heard me say it, I got grounded for a week. So I was
Okay.
11 years old. It was my dad's
Oh,
birthday.
wow.
Oh.
He was not happy.
Different vibe.
Yeah. Well, okay, so getting into Trek.
Yes.
So
Yes.
sounds like Joe sent you our guest questions. Just a great way to kind of like, I mean,
Yeah.
I think we already broke the ice, but still to kind of like get sort of like your background and sort of your experience
Oh,
with Trek.
sure.
First and foremost, why do you love Trek?
So I'm going to be really honest. I only started watching Star Trek in September 2022.
Amazing.
I'm very new to it because I was in a relationship at a time with I was in a polyamorous relationship with people who were like big Star Trek fans, and they kept saying to me, "We'll get you started on it. We'll get you started on it," and then they did, and I was immediately like hooked. I'd been curious about Star Trek for years. Obviously, I grew up watching Star Wars as a child, so I understand now was a very different thing. Anybody who watches Star Trek knows that Star Wars is very different. But they got me watching like one episode of Deep Space Nine, which Deep Space Nine is my favorite Star Trek. But like in retrospect, I'm like, you really stuck me in an episode right in the middle of the Dominion War and expected me to understand anything that was going on. I think it was like in that 6-episode arc right at the start of season 6 where the Cardassians retake the station.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck is happening right now?
I need a lot of context for that.
But then they were like, just start with the original series and go from there. So I did. And I was hooked right away. I was like, there were just so many things about Star Trek that I appreciated, particularly starting with the original series, was like the campiness, the cultural significance of it all, the authenticity, the fact that they had such a low budget and they made it work, that it was so unapologetically like neurotic and nerdy, but also just really fun and horny and stupid. And of course, incredibly politically relevant as well. One of the things I always tell people who get curious about Star Trek is like, it is, and I will die on this hill, one of the most politically important shows that the United States has ever produced. Not just the original series, but all the subsequent shows that came after it. Like the social commentary that is embedded in Star Trek is something that I feel very passionately about. And that carried on through with every single Star Trek show I watched. So I think I watched like 35 episodes of the original series. Like I watched the important ones. Then I watched like most of The Next Generation. And then I watched every single episode of Voyager, Deep Space Nine, Enterprise. Then I started watching all the movies. Then I watched all of Discovery. I just about finished watching Lower Decks.
Yes.
I'm about to start watching Strange New Worlds properly all the way through. I've seen like a few episodes of it. I have watched the Subspace Rhapsody episode about 4 times. Like I'm not a musical theater person, but I'm also not a musical theater person. So when I saw that they kind of did like an homage to that Buffy the Vampire Slayer episode, I was like, okay, we're gonna sit down and watch this. And it got to the point that in my own like drag act, I actually performed "How Would That Feel" twice.
Aww.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Love
it's
that.
my favorite. It's my favorite song from the episode. Getting to see musical theater portrayed in Star Trek, like a lot of people, I remember the split reaction.
Yep.
That episode had. You've got like, this isn't what Trek is all about, and I'm sorry, it actually is, because it's completely absurd and campy. It is so in line with what Star Trek is. It was only a matter of time before a show that's been on the air for 65 years to finally do a musical theater episode.
It was time overdue.
Well
Indeed.
overdue.
Oh, very, very much so. And it's just the thing. Another thing that I really love about Star Trek is just the community that
Yes.
exists around it. Like the people who get into it, they really get into it. Like I went to a Star Trek, my first ever Star Trek convention in Philadelphia last year. I went to Galactic Diversity and Inclusion Con, and that was my first time really getting to like be surrounded by other Trek nerds. And like everyone's dressed up, everyone's talking about their favorite episodes, everyone's just enjoying being able to be their authentic science nerdy selves. You've got like some people who are like hardcore academics. You've got some people who are just fans of the show or just kind of enjoying being in the same space. And it's a space that's very warm and inclusive for people of all backgrounds. Because that's really at the core of Star Trek is the fact that like it's this like futuristic society where humanity figured everything out and everyone is able to coexist regardless of identity, regardless of background, regardless of anything. So I was surrounded by people of all genders, all races, all sexualities, all abilities. Just like it was a beautiful space to be in. And I was like, I want to keep coming to conventions like this, Trekkie or otherwise, being in a space with people who just appreciate other people's humanity. That's a nice space to be in, whether you're a Trekkie or not. So
Yes.
I love that Star Trek brings that kind of energy out of people.
Thank you for sharing. I echoing just like a lot of those points for sure. And like community. And honestly, this like podcast has been like a really great way for us to kind of like branch out with the community and sort of like build into that.
Oh, I bet you have met all kinds of people, all kinds of like perspectives on Star Trek from doing this podcast too.
It's super fun. Like that's kind of like the highlight of like why we're really excited about doing this is just to like a good reason to just reach out to people like yourself. Be like, let's just talk about Star Trek and get your perspective on it. It's really fun.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where it's like every time I go back to watch an episode that maybe I've seen before or that I've never seen before, I feel as though every time I take something new away from it. Particularly like as a geographer, it's like I'm a geography professor at the University of Oklahoma. Like outside of this, like as a geographer, I find Star Trek really interesting because there's so much you can like say about the state of the world and allegorize about the state of the world within Star Trek, particularly Deep Space Nine, which is why it's my favorite Star Trek. Like, obviously, you've got episodes that are just plain stupid and like plain. You've got like they're fucking each other in this episode. They're trapped in a subspace rift in that episode. They're trapped in a nebula. They're having sexy time on the holosuite. But then like between all of that, you also have these really serious, important episodes where they tackle like geopolitically relevant topics. They're talking about like resource acquisition and class struggle and the fight for queer rights and like, you know, averting genocide and like coming to peace over like important political issues. And I'm like, but it does it in a way because it's sci-fi, because it's fantasy. Star Trek is able to tell those important political stories in a way that doesn't feel preachy. Like I love to tell people that like the intraplanetary conflict we have on Earth is kind of represented as an interplanetary conflict in Star Trek. All those same things we deal with on this Earth, we see played out through Star Trek, but it's between different planets and cultures, but it's exactly the same stuff. And that's what makes it so politically relevant and why I think Star Trek really is standing the test of time. Because like it's told, the things that the show tackles are still things that we're talking about and that we can understand. And then, of course, you still have those episodes interspliced that also make it fun. So it doesn't feel like it's super serious all the time. Like, particularly Deep Space Nine, in my opinion, really strikes the balance right between hilarity, absurdity, and political seriousness. And it just makes it a really fun show to watch and talk about as a geographer. Like, one of the... as a class, I really want to build, actually. It's a sci-fi and geopolitics class where like every week what I plan to do is like with like a cohort of grad students is to talk about how sci-fi shows like Star Trek or Battlestar Galactica or Star Wars or whatever kind of like portray different geopolitical issues. Like we can talk about like how like sci-fi shows address issues like queer rights, like racism, like imperialism, and like use that to better understand our own lives as geographers. It's something I really am excited to do hopefully in the coming year or two. So Star Trek absolutely plays a big role in my professional life as much as it does my personal one.
That's awesome. That sounds like an amazing class. That would be great to take.
I'm so excited to build it. Like there's like legit academic texts out there about this. Like there's this great book called The Radical Geographies of Deep Space Nine by David Seitz. And he fully breaks down like all of these really interesting like racial capitalist and queer and like genocidal imperialist themes that are baked into DS9. And it's honestly one of the best books I've ever read. So highly recommend it. And apparently I was at a conference last month when he... No.
Looking it up right now.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah. I'm going to order it now.
I think you absolutely should, honestly. Yeah. And the guy who wrote the book, David Seitz, like he was actually at a conference I was also at last month, and I didn't run into him.
Oh.
I was so upset because I would have totally just sat down and just talked Trek with him, but didn't have the opportunity.
That's awesome. Oh, I guess. Oh, great. So you've speaking a lot about Deep Space Nine. So I don't know if that's your answer to the next question, and it can kind of depend. The next two questions are basically up to interpretation. So kind of worded it as like, what's your home base crew? But you could also think about it like, I mean, if it's your favorite show, or like, I mean, I've even been like, which ship would you want to work on if you could be in the universe? I don't know. However you want to interpret it, but kind of just like your crew or your show.
Okay, well, my favorite show is Deep Space Nine.
Yes.
I've already ranted and raved about all that damn shit twice. But the crew I'd want to be part of has got to be the Enterprise D crew. It has to be. They're by far the most. I love their chemistry more than any other crew's chemistry.
It's amazing.
Like the way that like Beverly and Picard play off of each other is endlessly amusing to me. Data and Geordi are just waiting to fall in love with each other. Wesley is endlessly annoying. I know we all love to bash Wesley, but like can't help it. I think that Worf doesn't really come into his own until Deep Space Nine, but he still has some really great moments as part of the Enterprise D crew. And Riker is daddy. Like, what can we say? Riker
I do love Riker. Daddy.
Everybody loves Riker. I have a Star Trek shrine in my bedroom, and I have a cat. I know. Which Trekkie doesn't? As part of my shrine, I have a snapback cat, and it's got like a silhouette of Riker on it, and it says "My kink is consensual sex."
I love that.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's great. Yeah, I think I definitely would have to pick the Enterprise D crew, and I think that the misadventures that they get into are probably also some of my favorite misadventures. I will die on the hill that Sub Rosa, the episode where Beverly Crusher has sex with the ghost, is like one of my favorite Star Trek episodes ever. And I don't think any bridge crew has ever gotten into as absurd of a misadventure as that one. Actually, as part of my drag act, I actually did a number for the last Star Trek show we did a few months ago. I did a number as Beverly Crusher.
Amazing.
I performed Sex with a Ghost by Teddy Hyde, and I had my ghost candle. I had one of my best friends play Ronin and carry me off stage. It was a whole thing. It was, I think the people in the room who were not Trekkies had no idea what I was doing. But
it wasn't for them.
Right, no, it wasn't for them, it was for me. It was so that I could have my ghost boyfriend moment.
Yeah, we did that episode.
It's super fun.
It's such a fun one.
I did see that in your list of episodes that you took on. I actually, I met Gates McFadden at GalaxyCon last year, and
Cool.
I went there dressed as her with my ghost candle.
Yes.
And she literally, before I could like really talk to her, she said to me, "Can you please stand right there so I got like a picture of you for my gay friends in LA?" And I was like, "Yes."
Yes, please.
I was there to pay for a picture with her, but she wanted a picture of me, and I was like, okay.
Wow.
Yeah, can we trade these here?
Right.
Awesome.
I had, because I went to that convention with the very explicit intention of getting to talk to her about that episode. I remember I literally asked her because I wanted to know a little bit more. You remember that scene in the episode where Beverly and Deanna are like at the table and they're talking about Ronan for the first time, and she's all like, a pair of hands, they were moving across my skin. Like I asked her what was it like to film that episode, and her response was, it was stupid.
Stupid.
That was all she had to say. It was stupid. But she loves that episode because she said to me, Kate said that it's like the only time that Star Trek has ever tried to do like a romance novel episode, and every long running show has to do one at some point.
Yeah.
I guess like how they will have to do a musical episode at some point, like with Strange New Worlds. So she loves that episode, and it made me really happy to hear that she loves it because I love it, even though it's completely ridiculous and like there's nothing Star Trek about it at all, but that's why I love it, because it's just so absurd.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it provides that balance to some of those, like, to your measure of a man.
Oh yeah. Oh, exactly. Which, you know, awesome. if we're gonna talk like top 5 episodes of The Next Generation, The Measure of a Man is up there at the top. Like that's one of I love to say that every Star Trek show has like the quote unquote autistic character or the neurodivergent character. And like, it's that character that usually is the one that has to explore humanity, identity, and autonomy. So like with original series, it's Spock, DS9, it's Odo, Voyager is 7 of 9, and then TNG, it's obviously Data. So like episodes like The Measure of a Man and Data's Day, like all those ones where he like learns about being human, like as an autistic person, are extremely interesting to me because it's a fascinating introspection on like what it even means to be human. And I tell other friends of mine I have who are on the spectrum who haven't watched Star Trek, I tell them like, you have to watch this show because you will genuinely learn so much about yourself from watching this show. You will see your experience as an autistic person seen in a way that you didn't think was possible. And like, it's really interesting because it wasn't the deliberate intention of the showrunners. Like I saw an interview with Brent Spiner where he talked about how he never intended for autistic or neurodivergent people to understand themselves through Data, but he's happy that that's what happened. And it's just kind of a fortunate thing in retrospect. And I think that's kind of what makes it so good, is that it was just such an authentic thing that they were trying to do at the time. And it just happens to be something that autistic people understand. And I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, agreed. I love those beautiful, happy accidents with Trek.
Yes.
Speaking of characters, our last guest question here is, again, up to interpretation. So we just ask, like, you could choose a character to have a date with. And we've always said, like, it doesn't have to be romantic. It could be, you know, at a platonic level, like grabbing a coffee or like a beer with a kind of a buddy or whatever you want to do. Or it could be romantic, however you want to answer the question. Totally up to you.
It really depends. Yeah, like you said, it really depends on the intention. If I want to just like hang out with someone and have a good time, Jadzia Dax, easily. She's a good time. Like every single time she, we're going to talk about the episode later, but like just watching it, like she just bonds and vibes with everybody. Doesn't care who they are or what their background is. Jadzia is just a good time with anybody. I think if the intention were like romantic or sexual, Riker. It's got to be Riker or Cisco. One of the two. I like to call Cisco my space daddy because he's everyone's space daddy. I think anyway. I'd also say Picard. If I wanted to be like wined and dined and treated like a princess, I would say Picard.
It's so funny. Cisco does kind of almost act like a. He's like
Cisco. No, Cisco is the father of like all of these children running rampant on the bridge who are all having sex with each other behind closed doors.
That's what it felt like in this episode.
Yeah. He just shows up for
honestly,
like a short
I love to tell people that Deep Space Nine is like one giant polycule. They all have like they all like have their little relationships with each other, and sometimes those relationships cross over. Like you've got like Kira and Jadzia, but Kira's also got a thing with Miles and Keiko, and Miles has a thing with Bashir. Bashir has a thing with Garrick. Like everyone has something going on with somebody. And then you got QUARK and Odo off on their own, just hate fucking each other.
Hilarious. And it's on display in this episode. Yeah,
it really is.
Oh, it's so proudly. It's one of this episode is probably in my top 5 Deep Space Nine episodes. Again, just for the absurdity and the ridiculousness of it all. Like I love Star Trek episodes that are just unapologetically horny. Is that the reason I like the Sub Rosa episode? It doesn't hold back, and yes. I was just there like giggling to myself as I was watching it again before this call.
Should we start digging into it?
Yeah. Do you want to? I guess for anyone who's listening in and doesn't have this off the top of your head, which I was surprised at which season this episode was in.
Season 5. Yeah,
I thought it was a season 4 episode.
Yeah,
I would have pegged it as
it kind of surprised
4,
me. Before we do that, I do have a quick Trek check for us.
Oh, there is. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I stepped over.
I have a little segment I sometimes do where I do a little Trek news segment. Then I'll get to it. There's been kind of a dry spell.
Yeah,
for Trek
I was
news.
like, what do you got?
I got a few things though. A few. There was an announcement that Strange New Worlds season 3 will premiere on June 14th at the Tribeca Film Festival. That's pretty cool, I thought.
It's coming up.
And there was a new trailer, so I'm pretty excited. A lot of weird genre bending stuff there. There was also that goofy Strange New Worlds SpongeBob crossover trailer. Did you see that?
I saw that.
That was so.
What are you talking about?
I loved it so much.
I loved it too. It reminded me of the 90s when they would just do like 2 properties together for like a weird advertisement.
Yeah.
They don't do that anymore. Like it was the Star Patrick Starship Enterprise, and SpongeBob was there, and I lost it. Like what got me was when Spock said Sponge Robert. That got me. That was so funny.
Say that.
All right, I'll just show me. I didn't.
It's very funny.
It's really cute.
It's really good.
And I love the SpongeBob references they made were all like older SpongeBob references from like the first couple of seasons of the show, which I also really appreciated.
Right, when we were younger,
Totally.
So that was really cool. And then the last thing is not really news, but it's kind of something I just discovered. There was this article that came out from Slash Film like 4 days ago, just like reflecting on like Star Trek stuff. But apparently, and I had no idea about this, in 1997, there were serious plans to create a brand new like canon 40-minute IMAX Star Trek film that was supposed to, it was in the thick of like TNG. I think TNG might have been ended, but like DS9 Voyager was going. They were going to put a movie on screen, and Colm Meaney was set to reprise his role as O'Brien, and David Warner was going to come back as Chancellor Gorkon from the 6th movie. So probably timey-wimey things were involved to make that work, because Gorkon was killed, of course. Spoiler for Star Trek 6, I think. I don't know. But and apparently it was all set up to go. But like some sort of like finances fell through, or some sort of business decision, and it just ended up not happening. And there's articles and magazine like stuff at the time about them prepping to make it, like in the Star Trek like fan magazines, like, oh, this movie's going to come out. It's going to come out. And then it just didn't. But I always find myself super fascinated by the Treks that weren't, like the series that they were proposed that didn't happen. Like I got this book about the Star Trek Phase 2 that ultimately became the motion picture. But I had no idea about this, so I was like really fascinated by it. So I'll post the article in our show notes. But Star Trek IMAX film in 1997 that wasn't starring Colm Meaney. Would have been wild.
So he was he was going to be in the starring role. So it wasn't gonna be like a Deep Space Nine movie or something. It was just Miles O'Brien.
I think so. Like at least they're saying like he was the one that was signed on at least at that time to do it. So that would have been absolutely fascinating. But
so you did some
the
like
trials of Miles O'Brien.
Yeah, I'd watch it.
Oh man, so many trials for Miles.
Poor Miles. But anyway, that's what I got for our Trek check today.
Computer status report.
What the hell was that?
Thank you, Joe. Sorry, I stepped over your toes on that one.
It's okay. It's been a while. But anyway, we are talking about the season 5, episode 3 of Deep Space Nine, Looking for Parmak in All the Wrong Places, which tells the story of Worf showing a smitten QUARK the ways of the Klingon courtship when QUARK wants to rekindle a romance with his ex-wife GRILKA, among other goofy, horny adventures. So
it is such an incredible episode to me.
Yeah.
Like I said, I love episodes that just get into the sexual dynamics of it all. And like I said a few minutes ago, that like the DS9 bridge crew really are just one giant polycule, and this episode probably is, to me, like the best example of that, because like you've got Keiko, who is over here like. Even though her MO is ensuring that her baby comes to full term, she is fully facilitating Kira and O'Brien like getting it on against their will. It's like kind of like effectively being matchmaker for the two of them and being like, you can't go to Bajor by yourself, Miles, go with her. And it's like, oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
You should give Kira one of your famous back rubs, like all that. It's
right?
just the sexual
scene,
tension is
the scene in the shuttle where she's just like describing how like increasingly romantic the house is.
Yes.
That was cool.
And they're increasingly repulsed by the situation. It's like, if we go through with this, we're gonna bang, and neither of us want that. It's incredible. And then at the same time as they're doing all that, over in the holosuite, QUARK and GRILKA are getting it on, and then in a different holosuite, Jadzia and Worf start getting it on, so then they end up in medical, and Bashir's like trying to awkwardly not ask questions about what's going on. It's like, this episode is insane. Like, it's so funny. But what's really interesting to me with that episode is kind of, in some ways, I view it kind of as a turning point in the way that sexuality of women is depicted in Star Trek.
Tell me more.
Yeah, I mean, most Star Trek before that is just so patriarchal, and the way that like it's all about the woman is the object of sexual desire and has none of her own agency, and the man comes in to claim her. Like, that's, Kirk's dynamic with alien space babes was predicated on that. Whereas like in this episode of Deep Space Nine, you've got the women being in the driving seat for the most part. Like, GRILKA has complete control over everything that's going on with the members of her house, with QUARK, with Worf. She's like the dominatrix.
Oh yeah.
Like, she has complete ownership of her own sexuality. And then Jadzia is like the narrator of the whole episode, just like, casually explaining to QUARK like the dynamics of Klingon sex and like Klingon culture, and like being this fountain of knowledge that Worf is completely oblivious to until the last few minutes, and he's like, oh, I don't need a Klingon if I want to indulge in Klingon culture with a gorgeous woman. Jadzia's right here. And like, she doesn't need to pine to Worf about that. She knows who she is. She knows what she has to offer. She doesn't have to prove it to anyone. And it's such a different way of depicting female sexuality compared to like previous Star Trek shows. And I find that really interesting. I don't know if that's because Rick Berman was not the director of Deep Space Nine, because I know a lot of people like to attribute the problematic way that female sexuality and female agency was depicted to Rick Berman's role in show running the Next Generation. Because Aaron Stephen Beer obviously was the main showrunner of DS9. I don't know if that has something to do with it, or maybe it's just an evolution of the times. I don't know. But to me, it's definitely, that episode is a turning point for female sexuality in Star Trek, for sure. And I really appreciate that.
Yeah, cool. I didn't really think about it that way at the time when we were watching. Well, when we were watching it, even
I literally just rewatched it like a little over an hour ago. So these thoughts are like all fresh in my head, just on a subsequent viewing. Again, it's one of those things where like you notice things that you didn't notice before when you watch it again. Like, and you notice those small interactions, like Odo being like kind of quietly jealous that Kira has this relationship with O'Brien, and he's still unrequitedly pining after her.
So
like, I think so funny.
that scene stuck out to me so much. I wrote when I was watching it, I wrote like, Odo's kind of being a salty bitch. Like it was,
He is being a salty.
it was such a funny
Completely.
scene. Like it was perfect. Like his like smirk, oh Miles or whatever. Like that was great. Well performed for such a short moment.
Oh,
He was amazing.
Yeah.
Steals the scene in that one moment alone. Like you don't forget that, because I think the episode where they're trapped on the planet that's in its own like time bubble was in the previous season. So so Odo had already confessed his feelings to her without necessarily meaning to.
Yeah.
So they still kind of have this awkward dynamic of trying to have a professional relationship, and he knows that. So now he's like, I have something on you, Nerys, and I'm going to make you feel bad about it. And it's just so snarky. It's so snarky. And like, that's, I think, it's really funny because like those little moments of character building, like, distinguish Deep Space Nine from the other shows of the time, because it was the non-episodic one where you had that 7-season-long progression that actually gave characters the opportunity to evolve. Because like with The Next Generation and Voyager, these episodes, for the most part, are like, bottles. They don't really like build on top of one another, other than like with the Borg. Like that's about it for TNG and Voyager. Like, whereas with Deep Space Nine, because you've got this whole arc with the Dominion War going on in the background, the continuity of character growth really has to matter. So the events of previous episodes play into the way that the episodes are written. And it means that you get those fun little moments, like with Odo and Kira in Odo's office right there. It's something that I think really distinguishes Deep Space Nine and just makes it so fun to watch, even though it's like the hardest to pick up. Like I said earlier, you can't just like pick an episode right from the middle of the Dominion War and expect to know what's going on, because you can't. There's too much context. But like if you commit to it and you watch the whole thing, it's the best Star Trek of the lot, in my opinion. And it's really funny because like whenever I go to conventions and whenever I'm surrounded by other Trekkies, like people, more often than not, Deep Space Nine is the one that people say is their favorite. Like, because I wasn't born, but I was born in 94. But like people saying that Deep Space Nine was like an unusual negative departure for the show because they're on a space station, they're not going anywhere, and like these episodes are so hard to pick up because it was such a different way of constructing the show compared to what they were used to with the original series and The Next Generation. But I think that's also what's making Deep Space Nine age so well.
Yeah. It like benefits the most from time because you can see the cohesive vision of it all. Like I remember too, like when I was a kid, like my dad would throw on Star Trek all the time, but I feel like as a kid, like I almost didn't want to watch Deep Space Nine because I didn't know what was going on in like a random episode. But then like going back and like actually finally watching it from the start, it's like I was like, oh my, holy shit, like this is great.
Absolutely. No, and it's not that there aren't like bottle episodes in Deep Space Nine. Like there certainly are. The first two, and it's usually those holosuite episodes are the ones where you don't really have to know much else about what's going on. So I think of like, Our Man Bashir, where they do the James Bond thing, or Take Me to the Holosuite, which is the baseball episode. I love to show that episode to people just to show that DS9 can be truly stupid. I show them the baseball
that one rules.
Oh yeah,
it's so good. Have you seen all of the memes of like Odo in that episode? So like there's like a collection of memes that people love to use of like when people get in arguments on social media and they make logical fallacies, they'll show like a picture of Odo as the umpire of the baseball game being Tsukokoi episode, Tsukokoi argument, you're out of there.
Perfect.
It's so good. It's so good.
I do love that.
Okay, so you have content. Okay, so what were you telling me? This episode is based.
So
it's timeless, truly.
This episode is actually based on a 1897 play.
Really?
And it was actually a Michael Dorn's suggestion to kind of do an episode based on this play called Cyrano de Bergerac. by Edmund Rostand. And so Cyrano de Bergerac was an actual 17th century like poet and swordsman. So the play is a fictional account of his life. The story is essentially about Cyrano and how he's in love with this woman named Roxanne. Although he's a skilled poet and swordsman, he fears that she won't ever like love him because he has a really big nose. And so he finds this like other guy by the name of Christian who's handsome but less eloquent, and he helps like behind the scenes help Christian win Roxanne's heart. But of course, ultimately it like culminates in a classic like love triangle situation. So it's a pretty timeless story that's been like adapted into films and stuff. But like, yeah, it's very, honestly, it feels very Trekkie to like dig deep into like classic literature for like inspiration like that. And they of course put their own, they like the Trek spin on it by like,
and the sci-fi
like
elements.
in the context of the play, like it's like a metaphorical puppeteer, but like they take it literally in a sci-fi sense where Worf is like puppeteering Quark, like literally with that weird technology, whatever that is.
It came in and then never.
Yeah, I mean,
they purposely didn't explain it.
I feel like that could be useful in a lot of contexts, right? That thing.
The technology for the thing just happens to this because it's the late 24th century, so we can just do that. We can just do
works.
that. I actually didn't know that the episode was based on an existing play. I feel like such an idiot for not knowing that.
Well, no, I just found out about that too.
Yeah, I mean, we would never have known.
Doing the research. It's cool though. Like I'm kind of curious to check out some of like the movie adaptations of it to see what like kind of compare. But
there's a few Voyager episodes. I want to say in like seasons 5 or 6 where they really got into like doing pastiches of existing media. Like the one I think of is the someone to watch over me episode, the one where Tom Paris and the Doctor make the bet to see if Seven can get a boyfriend, and it's basically just My Fair Lady.
That's right. It is fun. I do kind of like it when they do those classic plots like that. What are your thoughts on this? I haven't heard from you as much. What are your thoughts on this episode, Nicole?
Yeah, it's a super fun and hilarious and like sexual tension filled episode. I mean, it's one of those I totally forgot about, not like completely forgot about the episode, but like some of the like I didn't really think about the Odo stuff or that Odo scene. It's very small, but like having watched the entire series and then coming back to this episode again, it was just really delightful kind of stepping into this moment in time for the show and knowing where it's going to go, knowing where the characters are going to go, and just sort of like seeing them exist in this moment. Like I and I think it's kind of a turning point for the show. Like I kind of feel like for like the characters' relationships, I feel like things kind of like, like Jadzia and Dax like start their relationship here. And and I feel like it's ends up being one of the cornerstones of like the, that relationship on the show.
Jadzia and Worf,
Did I say that wrong?
It's
Jadzia and Worf, not Odo. Mixing them all up. They're all mixed up in this episode.
That's what's because the episode purposely mixed it up. That's why.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
It makes it wild.
It's funny that you point that out though, because that's actually, I hadn't thought about that, but that's so true. Because like Worf at this for like pretty much all of season 4 and up until this point in season 5 is such a solitary character. Like he's cut off from the Enterprise D and everything he knew, and he's reestablishing his new life on the station. He's sleeping on the Defiant because he feels as though he doesn't belong, and like Jadzia really is his gateway into feeling as though he's actually part of the community on the space station. She unequivocally accepts and understands him because she understands Klingon culture. Like, even though Worf was raised by humans, he's taken all this time to understand himself as a Klingon, and that alienates him from other humans. But then you've got Jadzia, who is accepted by the humans on the station, really everybody, and she was the Klingon in Dax's past host. So, like, what she was lived with Klingons because Curzon lived among Klingons. Like, got that wrong. But so she understands all of that from her past life. So, and that's enough to make Worf feel comfortable, and it's the beginning of his integration. And like, I like what you said about the fact that like, it provides like kind of a little snapshot of just like events on the station just happening in this moment. Like the Dominion War takes a back seat in this episode. We really don't hear anything about it. It's just like, this is an episode just focused on the lives of these characters. Just something so incidental as relationships among the people who live on the station. A very horny lens on the relationships of the people that live on the station. Like, we're actively seeing the consequences of the fact that Kira is carrying Keiko's baby.
Oh my God.
Like, and how they have adjusted to that. Because I think it was like, it was in the previous season where Kira had to start carrying the baby. I think, I don't know, because I don't know at what point in season 4 they worked that in.
I don't remember when that happens.
But it was like because she was pregnant, right? In real life, right?
Yes.
Oh, she was pregnant with Alex Siddick's baby. Absolutely.
Yeah. As I mentioned, yeah.
That's right. That's such a cool like way to sci-fi it in there.
Well, they did the same. They did the same thing with Roxanne Dawson in Voyager. I want to say it was in like season 2 or 3. There's that one season where Roxanne Dawson's wearing that big engineer's jacket, because she was pregnant at the time.
Yep.
So funny. I know those like those really kind of practically skin tight like Star Trek uniforms are hard to, the jumpsuits are hard to hide a pregnancy in.
Yeah.
You definitely, especially those Next Generation ones where it's just like a full one piece.
Oh my gosh, those first 2 seasons, the like onesie pajama thing, those are rough.
They're interesting. I wish they kept the scants around personally.
The scants rule.
I would have loved to see those last beyond the first episode.
So have you brought a scant into any of your drag shows?
I haven't.
Okay.
And
it's on the docket.
It's been on the docket for a minute. It really has been. Well, I'm just now starting to get comfortable with using a sewing machine. So it's probably only a matter of time before I try and do a custom Starfleet uniform. And I think a scant might be at the top of the list.
Excellent.
It's very androgynous. It's very me. I think I could pull it off. It's actually funny because like the first Star Trek cosplay I ever did was a Major Kira cosplay, since we're talking about Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
Like she is as much as I said the character I'd love to like hang out with is Jadzia Dax. My favorite character from DS9 is Major Kira. Like that's just no contest.
She's just such a whole character and I love it.
She's a badass. She is a serial badass. Like
yes,
she's very much
badass. I love that.
She's kind of like not at the front of things in this particular episode, but any episode where she's a main character is just incredible to me. Like the duet episode from season 1, where she's like faced with confronting all of her justified prejudices about Cardassians with this one guy. His name's completely gone out of my head now. Oh God,
I don't remember either, honestly. But I know. Yeah, we know.
It's right. It's right there.
It'll come.
But and like he's behind. He's in the jail cell, and like Major Kira's coming to terms with the fact that like, oh, he actually wasn't like actively wishing and facilitating genocide upon Bajorans, and he like was. He didn't want to have any role in this, and he's actually a good man. And like he comes, Dahil. That's a good
that's
it.
Yeah. Nice.
That's it.
Nice.
Well done.
Yeah, I knew it would come eventually, and like she like by the end of the episode, she's like put all of her prejudices down. Only at the very end of the episode to have them all put back in her again, because the status quo has to be restored because a Bajoran sees him on the station and shoots him. And then it's like, oh, maybe the world can't change. Maybe there is no future peace between Bajorans and Cardassians, even though I was able to relate to this one guy. And like it just that moment of like inner conflict where Major Kira is like forced to kind of reconcile her identities as like a Bajoran revolutionary and like a Starfleet ally. Those episodes are so interesting to me. Like
exactly.
there's also like the one where she finds out the truth about her mother and how her mother was like Gul Dukat's concubine, And like she thought that her mother died a glorious death, like fighting for Bajoran freedom. And she didn't do that in the way that she thought her mother did. And that completely shocked and changed her worldview. Like, I think as far as like understanding like the power struggle and like the fight for religious liberty that marginalized people go through, she's the character that all gets kind of funneled onto, and it makes her so interesting. Besides the fact that she's a serial badass, like she like gets all these really interesting stories about liberation and like identity crisis, and I just love that. She's so interesting to me.
And they're so timeless too. Like I
So
feel like
timeless.
I revisited some of her storyline specifically for like the 30th anniversary a few years back. Like I was writing an article about it, and just like it was like wow, all of this is like applicable to like, I mean, almost sadly applicable to things that we're like witnessing in the world now still, you know?
Oh, fully. There's so much you can unpick about like what's happening with Gaza and
Exactly.
like the Trail of Tears. There's like so much that you can read into that and like understand better by looking at like the relationship between Cardassia and Bajor and like the persecution that the Bajorans go through in Deep Space Nine. This is another part of why I want to build this sci-fi geopolitics class as a geography professor, because these are the kinds of things I want to be able to talk about.
See the seeds there, right?
Right. We can talk about the horny shit too. We can talk about, you know, Jadzia and Worf getting it on, but we can also talk about the serious stuff, you know?
Right.
I love it.
It's all
I
great.
love it.
Sometimes the horny shit is the gateway to the serious shit, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's what we've realized in this podcast too. Like we'll talk about like goofy romance or like horny shit, and like it'll look at these heavy episodes sometimes we'll have what we'll be talking about.
Yeah.
No kidding, yeah.
Episodes like this one are a great relief.
Really
from
are.
Those moments of seriousness, especially with Deep Space Nine, because I mean, like the Dominion War is arguably one of the more like kind of serious, long-term, pretty depressing storylines that Star Trek has ever taken on. So having those moments of levity to kind of like break it up a little bit, they help keep the show watchable and interesting for everyone who maybe isn't so interested in the politics.
But also, like, it's just there's still like so many like fascinating elements of like this one being like about like cultural differences, right? Like QUARK having to like learn, you know, the Klingon ways, but also like he even brought in like his own thing. He's like, it's a Ferengi custom. Like he brought it, you know, like
it was bullshit though.
It was bullshit, but that's kind of a custom of Ferengi, right? Right? Isn't bullshit just part of their culture, right?
That's so true. That's so meta. I love
it totally
that.
works. But like that, but like even just like all the different like vibes going on, like you're just seeing like all these different like clashes of different things and how they're like meshing together, often messily, but interestingly, you know.
But it's also kind of cool though that like even though like QUARK goes to so much trouble in that episode to like understand Klingon culture and like respect Klingon culture.
Yeah.
At the end of the episode, what really wins GRILKA over is like QUARK being QUARK.
Yeah.
It's not about him being a Klingon or acting like a Klingon. It's like GRILKA kind of sees past all of that and is like, oh, you actually like me.
Yeah.
And I think that's quite nice, actually.
It really is.
And like GRILKA doesn't lose any of her power or agency in any of that realization, and it just makes the episode that much more satisfying to watch.
I feel like she's just having a good time the whole time. Like,
she fully is.
Well, at that point, she's kind of like shirking a lot of the expectations that are put on her as a Klingon, as a woman in Klingon culture. You know, dismissing her bodyguard and being like, "You out," and even like I don't know, the old guy doesn't try to like. Interfere at that point.
She's fully there as the leader of her own house as a female Klingon, which is unprecedented enough to then go ahead and, like you said, like boot out other people in the house, like fully just being a feminist icon and just doing her own thing, being like, no, I make my own rules. This is my house. Fuck you. I just think it's incredible. It's incredible. And then on top of that, she takes on a Ferengi lover. It's incredible. It's such a subversion of cultural expectations.
Yeah,
which really is again a huge part of what Deep Space Nine is, because Deep Space Nine is this like, you know, melting pot of different cultures all
Yes.
living together on the same station. So of course you're going to see people like, challenging their own cultural expectations. And it's another one of those things that I find like so fascinating about Deep Space Nine is the fact that you have these like constant cultural clashes that happen because everyone's in the same space that isn't moving. Mm-hmm. We get to see what the late 24th century looks like from a lens that isn't just the Federation's lens.
Yeah.
Because with the original series, the Next Generation, Voyager, like we're always seeing everything from the perspective of the Federation and like the philosophy, the values, and the beliefs of the Federation go relatively unquestioned, unless it's Janeway and she just fucks up the rules because she's Janeway. but like because you've got like Bolians, Klingons, Ferengi, a Cardassian, like all of the Trill, all these different races, all their different values. Like you actually, Deep Space Nine has that ability to like really actively question a lot of the core philosophy that Gene Roddenberry had when he created Star Trek in the 60s. Like, and actually think about, what does a utopian society in the eyes of the Federation look like from the perspective of another race? The Cardassians are over here thinking that the Federation's ambitions are just as imperialistic and evil as theirs. Mm-hmm. Like, the only reason why we don't think of why the Federation doesn't think of itself as an empire is because, well, they're the Federation themselves. Like, their intentions of, like, kind of exploring strange new worlds and seeking out new life and new civilizations, like, to other cultures, that could be seen as pretty, like, an attempt at colonization in some races' perspective, certainly from the Klingon, Cardassian, and Romulan perspective. Mm-hmm. It's really cool to see DS9 kind of like spotlight that.
Yep, you're right.
It's another reason why it's my favorite Star Trek show, because it actually is not afraid to like kind of be more critical of like the philosophy of the other Star Trek shows that it's sandwiched between. It's there like the misfit child in between TNG and Voyager, like actually being a little bit more actually about the way that the Federation operates.
Yeah, what was that episode we just did with Cisco saying, or no, not Eddington saying that line to Cisco?
It's easy to be a saint in paradise.
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go. Yep. Exactly. Because he's over there joining the Marquis because he's just so affronted by everything the Federation's doing because he doesn't believe in it.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, another great example of that is the what's the episode called? Far Beyond in the Pale Moonlight.
Pale Moonlight,
Yeah, the episode where the Federation fully fakes the Dominion murder of a Romulan ambassador to get the Romulans to join their side against the Federation.
Yeah.
Which is an incredibly immoral thing to do that really shows the darkness and the ambition and the imperialism that does underpin the Federation to a little bit. Mm-hmm. Like, you couldn't imagine other Star Trek shows even having the gall to depict the Federation in that way. But DS9 does, and it ends up creating, like, arguably one of the best episodes of Star Trek, period. Like, never mind just of DS9, like, just of all of them. Like, in the Pale Moonlight is easily, like, top 5 best ever.
Gotta be, yeah.
Well, and even we recently with like Section 31, the movie having come out, we were talking about the origins of Section 31.
We did an episode on it.
We did. And
I love that.
That also, like you're saying.
Yeah. Section DS9, I mean, still hands down, like, did it the best.
The first to pick Section 31.
They did it the best too, like, still. Like, I mean, they're the ones who like showed it as the morally gray thing and not just like later on as kind of more like
the lengths to which the Federation will go to, air quote, keep the peace.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's like, you know,
security.
The Cardassians have the Obsidian Order, and then the Romulans have the Tal Shiar. Like, of course, the Federation have their own version of that. They're not these like, you know, unequivocally moral peacekeepers of the truth, or of like, you know, morality and benevolence. Like, of course, they have like their own secret operations. Like, why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
You don't become like like a society that sprawls across planets without having some level of darkness to it, and like DS9's not afraid to shine a spotlight on that.
Yeah, and
which makes it such a.
It's kind of the Star Trek that they needed at the time, I think, to shake it up, to like have other things that, kept on that philosophy too. Like you got to stop and question it here and there.
Oh yeah, I fully believe that if DS9 had been just another Star Trek show that was like on a ship exploring the galaxy, it wouldn't have been anywhere near as interesting. The show probably would have died after Voyager, because it was like, oh, another one. Like the fact that it's on a space station just completely changes the narrative and the types of stories that can be told.
Yeah. Couple quick things about this episode that I've realized I forgot to mention. We totally forgot to mention this is a sequel episode to the House of QUARK, which is the one where like QUARK lies about killing a Klingon who turns out to be GRILKA's dead husband, so he has to like marry her so she can become in charge of her house under Klingon law. Yep. Love that Jadzia just recaps that episode to Worf. Oh, yeah. That was super fun.
Oh, it's a 30-second exposition dump,
and it worked
for all the people who are not there watching, who are not binge watching all of DS9 and are just watching a single episode. This is what I mean when I said earlier that Jadzia is the narrator of the episode.
Right,
she's there providing all the context about like what you need to understand about Klingon culture, what you need to understand about previous episodes, what you need to understand about like all these different people on the space station. Jadzia is just there providing all of it, being like the fountain of knowledge.
Yeah, Jadzia's got all the hot gossip.
Oh yeah,
she's amazing. No, she's amazing.
Yeah, that was cool. Another small interesting trivia piece is that Armin Shimmerman like learned the Batleth moves and did all his own stunts, like practiced that himself, which is pretty cool.
Are you for real?
Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting.
Oh my god!
Yeah, like
I guess there's no faking that really. Like it's literally right there. Like there's no way that you could have had a stunt double when his face is literally there on camera.
He also apparently worked with, according to like Memory Alpha, he worked with a mime artist to make it look as if the Batleth had a mind of its own and it's being controlled not by him.
Cool.
Yeah, because I thought they did a really good job with that, like where he was like, "Whoa," and like it's like you could tell, like
the moves where it's they're trying to convey.
Oh, where like Worf's controlling him, and he has to try to make it look as though he's being controlled.
That's so cool.
Absolutely,
you explain it better. I just like did a motion, which is great podcasting, right?
Yeah,
people listening. But yeah,
I mean, I did it too, but no one's going to see that. No one's going to see that.
We do have.
I totally forgot about our rating scale.
We have a rating scale. I sent it to you, but I will repeat it. I'll repeat it. We rate the romance love stories in question. In this case, I don't even know if there's a single romance to say. I just feel like we're just going to rate the whole thing. But starting from the bottom, we have a red alert, which usually means the relationship is quite toxic. A yellow alert, meaning it's pretty toxic, but there's maybe more to it.
Maybe less so.
Fascinating. Kind of what it says, fascinating or intrigued. Fully functional means a very good, positive relationship. And then a resistance is futile is just too hot to handle. So,
its resistance is futile. I mean, come on.
There you go.
Resistance is futile.
I don't know how many other episodes of Star Trek explicitly depict, they fucked.
Yeah.
Other than the Naked Now, the TNG episode where Data expresses his full functionality, there aren't many other episodes that depict like full on sex happening.
Yeah, in like a couple different ways. Yeah,
right. On like two incidents of aggressive Klingon sex, and then one between Brian and Kira that didn't quite happen but almost did. So it's definitely too hot to handle. Absolutely.
I would agree with you. It's like it's crazy because I feel like when we were watching through Star Trek the first time, like us together, like when we were watching through Enterprise, I was like, oh, this show is so horny. And I'm like, this might be the horniest Star Trek episode, and we also have all of Enterprise to compare it to. Like, it's up there.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. All those episodes with like Jolene Blaylock just like completely naked.
Right, like rubbing gel, yeah. But
she and Trip are just in there disinfecting each other.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah.
Good grief. One of my favorite things that I once saw on one of the Star Trek shit posting Facebook groups was it was a meme about Klingon sex and like how because normal Klingon sex is very like physically aggressive, where like they fully injure each other. Does that mean that the Klingon version of kinky sex is vanilla?
Whoa.
Where they're like very like soft, that it's very soft, very gentle, very cuddly, not really doing much of anything that's aggressive, just being very like kind of diaphanously caressing each other. That's like kinky sex.
That's
for
kinky.
Klingons.
I like that. That's gotta be canon.
Hilarious.
Because it's so averse to how Klingons act. Like it's like their version of being like, you know, average socialization is like killing each other.
Yeah.
So like for them, something so taboo and unacceptable would be being very soft and gentle with each other, you know? The opposite of what we would think.
That's so funny. We have talked about multiple cultures now, like their like sexual habits. We had that the Denobulan.
Oh yeah, we talked to John Billingsley about Denobulans,
They're all poly, like they're all like it's like one guy
That's a good
with
one.
several women to himself. Like I don't know how many wives does Dr. Phlox actually have? Do we know?
I feel like we looked it up, but I don't remember.
It was 3, but doesn't his wife also has like 3 husbands though?
So like,
right.
There was like a web. Yeah, so it went out to a lot of different
Good grief.
I mean, I don't know what those family trees look like. It's wild times.
Yeah, it's wild. Did you have thoughts, Nicole, on your rating on this one? I feel like when we were saying resistance futile, you had like a Spock eyebrow raise. I wasn't sure.
I feel like the 3 main couplings are GRILKA and QUARK, Worf and Dax, and then Kira and O'Brien. And I feel like GRILKA and QUARK are fully functional, which I think is hilarious.
I am fully functional.
Yeah.
Kira and O'Brien is probably like fascinating / almost like yellow alert territory because not because of toxicity, but because of the context.
Fascinating.
Yellow alert.
Keiko's literally smushing them together. So.
Yeah, like the like weird discomfort there. Although I will say, like the most striking image of the episode for me is, I think, is it the first time we see O'Brien and Kira, and like she's in that like pink like silky like nightgown, and he's like, I don't know, like massaging like her calves, and like slowly kind of making his way up her calf, and like then Keiko comes in, and like I don't know, it's like probably one of the most like awkward scenes.
She is so, but the thing is, Keiko is so happy.
Exactly, it's such a funny.
It's like, is she getting off on being cuckolded by Kira? Is that what's going on?
Because she's like, don't stop on my account.
Yeah, with this like cheerful.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
And then
and then
Worf and
Dax.
Worf and Dax.
Yeah.
It's funny because like I feel like Worf was like resisting, but I guess it ultimately ends up being resistance is futile.
Resistance is futile.
For them, yeah.
100%.
Well, the tension between the two of them just builds up through the entire episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but it's Worf's obliviousness that is so great about it, because he's over there, you know, pining after GRILKA the entire time and not paying any attention to the fact that Jadzia just knows all of this stuff about Klingon culture and Klingon customs and is like literally right there, not asking for that kind of attention from Worf, really.
Mm-hmm.
But then when he finally realizes, like once the fight between with the Quarks in is over, like, oh, you're here. Yes, Worf, I am here.
Yeah.
Let's go. It's like we're there the entire episode, like waiting for that moment, and then it finally happens. So I agree.
It's a big payoff.
That one, that's
the audience.
Huge payoff. That's resistance is futile for me. Absolutely.
100%.
So I rated them all separately. So
I also loved. Just
I
a side
think your
note,
ratings are correct, though. I agree with you.
That totally works. I love that like Julian is like vicariously horny, like
oh my
to
god,
the side of it the whole time.
Yeah, Julian he is
one.
Such a tragically repressed person.
Yeah,
like he's there, like fighting off his affections for Jadzia, Garrick, for O'Brien. Like it never ends with him. The boy just needs to do something about that. I don't know what it is.
And then at the end of the episode, like it's clear to him at that point, everyone else has got some.
Yeah,
that
everyone in
day.
his sick bay that moment. Yeah, he's just like, I'm gonna stop asking.
Right.
Great scene.
He's sexually frustrated. That
yeah,
much
at
is
that
clear.
point for sure. Yeah.
Right. Although in lower decks, they finally did make Bashir and Garrick canonically a couple.
Loved
that.
Yeah.
I was like,
Love that.
Finally.
Chef's kiss.
Although with slightly different circumstances, because Bashir is the EMH.
Right. The alternative universe one, but
I'm fine with it.
As he was originally intended to be, obviously.
Yeah.
Because there's that one episode of DS9 where like Zimmerman comes to meet him and it's like, we want to make you the EMH. But he can't because he's genetically enhanced is breaking the law.
That was a fun episode too.
Oh, it was a great episode.
Yeah.
I loved that episode.
That's a lot of good ones. This was awesome. I really appreciate you suggesting this one because this was such a fun one to revisit. I feel like just especially like a fun, like comedic one. So like I just wanted to thank you again for like suggesting this one and just in general being a guest on the podcast.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on.
Absolutely. No, Star Trek is, it's such a cheesy thing to say, but I like to tell people that Star Trek changed my life because it literally changed the way that I look at how I look at media, how I look at myself as an artist, as a drag performer specifically, and like how I think about politics, the places I've gotten to go and the people I've gotten to visit because of being a Trekkie. I never thought any of that would ever happen. Like I got to perform for Kate Mulgrew. Like I can talk about that. I mean, it was crazy. Like I at that convention in Philadelphia last year, the reason why I ended up going was because the event organizers wanted to have a couple of the drag performers put on an homage to Kate Mulgrew, like an 11-minute long performance in which we would all play different people that Kate Mulgrew played on TV and on stage.
Wow.
So me and this other queen, Misty Chance, we did this 11-minute performance where we were doing costume changes throughout. She was Mary Ryan from Ryan's Hope, Mrs. Columbo, and then Katharine Hepburn. And then I was Red from Orange is the New Black and Captain Janeway, and then she came back on as Admiral Janeway, and then we had a whole bit together, and Kate loved it because we did it in front of a pretty big audience of people, and she came up on stage, she gave us a hug, we got to talk to her a little bit, I got a free autograph from her, so she loved it. She loved it. That convention was incredible. I also the most embarrassing moment of that convention was when I trapped Bob Picardo in a revolving door. I fully assaulted him and I felt terrible. Like he was coming in through the revolving door with his hat and suitcase, and I was walking out through the revolving door, and I did not look to see if someone else was coming. So I look up and like, why is it not turning? I look up and I see it's Bob Picardo, and I am mortified. I'm like, I just assaulted an elderly man who's just like coming into the hotel for this convention. And if I had any presence of mind, I would have said, like, you're a hologram. You should be able to just pass right through, shouldn't you? But I was too embarrassed. So I walked out of the hotel and just like curled up into a ball in like embarrassment outside, just like processing what had just happened. But then I apologized to him later and it was fine.
Good. Happy ending.
Yeah.
Hologram comment would have been pretty funny.
That would have been pretty fun, yeah.
And then like, I've gotten to host 2 Star Trek drag shows that like have raised thousands of dollars at this point for different nonprofits. Like we did one for the Rainbow Youth Project last Thanksgiving that raised $4,000.
Fantastic.
Thank you. It's amazing. The turnout was crazy. So many people in Starfleet uniforms. It was amazing. And then this year, I think it's next month, we've got SoonerCon, which is like a convention here in Norman, Oklahoma. And I'm doing a Q&A with Garrett Wong and Ethan Phillips, who are on the billing for the convention this year. I had one of the event organizers for SoonerCon emailed me asking if I would like moderate the Q&A with them. And I was like, absolutely. Are you kidding me? Of course I will. Because, like, I guess at this point, I kind of have a bit of a reputation for, like, being, like, the Star Trek queen around here. So I'm like, you need a drag queen to, like, host this and talk to Harry, Kim, and Neelix? Absolutely, I will. I was putting together a Loxana Troy cosplay for the convention anyway.
Amazing.
So
I would love to see
I'll
that.
probably end up doing it dressed as her.
That's
I still
perfect.
have to do the wig, but the wig will be fine. I have the dress. I had a friend make it for me as a birthday present, but the wig will be easy. Easy. But yeah, the things that you get to do, like when you become like you probably both know this, like being part of this community of Trekkies, like the places you get to go, the people you get to meet, like it's life changing. Like you get to do things that you never thought were possible because it's such a wholesome, active community where it's like if you meet someone you've never met before and they're also a Trekkie, like instant connection.
Yep.
Instant connection. You suddenly start spouting off. I met a guy a couple of days ago who told me he was a Trekkie, and it was like we immediately started talking about our favorite things about Star Trek. And it's like you don't have to know somebody. There's like you have this thing in common that you both love so much, and it just facilitates conversation, and it's wonderful. Star Trek brings people together.
It really does. I love it.
Perfect.
That's why we decided. I mean, that's why we wanted to do this. It's been wonderful, and I'm glad
I bet the conversations that you get with each person on this podcast are just so different than one another.
It truly is.
Every person has a different perspective on like what makes Star Trek so cool.
Yes, that's why we asked those questions at the beginning. Especially, why do you love Trek? It's an amazing
every time it's
collection of answers.
Every time it's always different too, and I think that's really
I love that.
Really kind of special. Like I feel like a lot of times, like you almost think like, oh, you think you might know that answer, but it's so different for everybody. So
it's
cool, but I'm glad you mentioned the convention you're going to be doing coming up. I was going to ask what any like events coming up. So that's any other things or any other like places people could find you, like social media sites or anything.
Yeah, so you can follow me on Instagram at Busty the Brit if you'd like. I host drag shows in Oklahoma, so I have regular drag shows I host at Frankie's in Oklahoma City, at Opolis in Norman. I'm usually doing some cosplay project or another. So SoonerCon's the next big one. I'm going to be doing one day as Loxana Troy from Next Generation and DS9. I'm also at this convention every year. I always dress as the fairy godmother from Shrek every single year.
Awesome.
It's like the thing I'm kind of known for at this point. And I'm also working on a Dr. Eggman cosplay.
Ooh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not without the fat suit. It's Dr. Eggman on Ozempic, but where I'm sewing the jacket myself, and I have someone who's going to be Sonic the Hedgehog with me, my good friend Yakisoba Michaels.
Awesome.
So we're going to be Eggman and Sonic together. Never tried to sew something before, so it's been really fun for me. But I'm excited. Cosplay's so fun, and like there's a small but thriving community of drag cosplayers here in Oklahoma, and it's really cool to get to be able to connect with them through like conventions like SoonerCon.
Yeah, it sounds like an awesome community.
Oh, I love it. It's funny, whenever I talk about the drag community in Oklahoma, everyone's always surprised that there even is one. But like, it's genuinely a pretty thriving and active community. There are a lot of us, and so many different types of drag too. Like, I corner the market on Star Trek drag, and then that brings other people out. But there's pageantry and cosplayers and monsters and kings and like everything is amazing. Like, people need to pay more attention to what happens in Oklahoma when it comes to drag, for sure.
I love that it exists.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
Glad to hear it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again to Busty for taking the time to chat with us today. It truly has been a pleasure, and it was really fun to revisit this episode. For everyone listening, reminder, you can find us at DS Love Pod on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky. So give us a follow if you like what you're hearing, and if you really like what we do here, rate and review wherever you're listening. We've got some fun stuff coming up for you this summer, so stay tuned. And until then, love long and prosper.